Hello, kind people. This is Dmitry, and this is my weekly listener recap. I'm a little bit behind schedule. There are two more recaps to go, and the new listener is about to come out. But it's because the term has started, it's somewhat harder for me to find evening time to record these. So I don't know whether I will manage to, carry on till the end of the year, but I will try to. So thus, that means that I solved this puzzle about 2 weeks ago, and so it's all a little bit blurry by now, and the recap mightn't necessarily be short as a result. So it's called Head of Steam, it's by Agricola, and there will be something to discuss soon before we get to the very first clue. So here's the preamble. Two groups of 4 cells, A and B, and one group of 5 cells, C, contain 2 letters per cell, each group representing a thematic location. The letters could be arranged to spell "the cylinder to look strange then." Solvers must highlight the path of 10 cells between A and C and the path of 6 cells between C and B. The paths travel only horizontally and vertically, are roughly geographically accurate, and spell out 2 relevant names. In 18 clues, a word must be removed to enable solving. The word's initials indicate what must be entered below the grid. Numbers in brackets are the lengths of grid entries. Chambers Dictionary is a primary reference, blah, blah, blah. So, first thing is that I don't think I have seen that many puzzles that telegraph their themes in such an obvious way. So, indeed, the title is Head of Steam, and we're talking about some cylinders somewhere in the north, according to this. And there are 2 groups of, there are 3 locations, and we somehow represent the map in the area because it's geographically accurate. And the date of publication of this puzzle is 27th of September. And it might have even escaped me, although that's unlikely. But because the Magpie that I also solve is a monthly magazine, so the September edition of the Magpie came out much earlier, and I have solved it by that time. And there was a puzzle on the same theme there. And so I was aware of the anniversary that is it Darlington and Stockton, or Stockton and Darlington? I kind of immediately disqualify myself as a rail fan here. But basically, an important railway milestone, which kind of one of many events that could be viewed as a birth of railways as we know them, took place on the 27th of September, 1825, and so 200th anniversary of that was celebrated. And because I guess the topic is quite dear to the hearts of many crossword compilers, there were no less than 3 thematic puzzles on the subject. So the one in the Magpie that I mentioned, this one, and on the same weekend, the one in the iPaper, the Inquisitor series, I think published a one by Phi, which I haven't solved, but reading the preamble, I would be extremely surprised if it is somehow on something else, and this theme turns out to be a red herring there. I don't think that's the case. So anyway, for a solver, this is always a little bit disappointing because you kind of know from the beginning what you are aiming at. And in fact, I think I very quickly, let me get to sort of semi-completed grid. I reasonably quickly got to this point. I think this isopoda was one of the very first clues that I solved, and that immediately confirmed that, that must be the beginning of Darlington. And indeed then, at some point I found that here you have Adderley, and so here is Darlington, and so we expect somewhere there to be Stockton. of a Stockton to be. And yeah, and you know, then you just plow along and you end up with a completed grid. And as you can see, here is Adderley, here is Darlington, here is Stockton, and then we need to, what do we need to do? Okay, and the hidden message tells us to write the date beneath the grid, which is what I did, and then we need to highlight a path of 10 cells between A and C, and a path of 6 cells between C and B, and they should spell thematic names. And so locomotion is a famous name of the locomotive there, so locomotion number 1, so there it is. And then George Stevenson is another chap who is important in the story, so there he is. And so I believe this is all we need to do. And I'm not going to tell you much more about this, because I think, well, and partially because I think I enjoyed Magpie's treatment of the theme a little bit more. Although it was like a very, very fiddly end game, maybe I'll actually show it to you. Let me pause it and try to bring it on the screen. Here, I hope it is. There it is on the screen. So in the Magpie, you had to enter 2 of the letters O as this big wheels, and then 2 more O's as the small wheels, and connect them with this bar. And as you can see, that also allows, as a kind of nice bonus, to trace locomotion in the grid, but also the letters of the surname Stephenson actually created the outline of the locomotive. So yeah, I think this is quite neat, and I really enjoyed it. So, and I think I enjoyed it more than the listener treatment of the theme. So anyway, that was a short video. As I said, happened 2 weeks ago, and I mean, it is obviously a milestone that the listener couldn't ignore, especially given that the exact date, 27th of September, happened to be Saturday, and so exactly the date when the listener is published. But I mean, not that I had any special feelings towards the puzzle. So that's one of my late recaps, and now I'm going to do the one that you're going to see in a week. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Bye.